diving into another deep dive with, well, this one's got a title that, I'll be honest, maybe do a double take. It's called Older Men Don't Realize This Attracts Younger Women. Do this to tempt her. High value psychology. Just,
Wow.
yeah, I know, right? And before we even really get going here, gotta say up front, we're not like endorsing any of that pickup artist kind of vibe, okay?
Right.
This article, we're gonna use it more like a jumping off point. To think about attraction, especially between, older men, younger women, the psychology behind it all.
Yeah. And it's just one viewpoint, right? One way to look at this whole thing. There's so much to unpack here.
Totally. Okay, so like right off the bat, this article, it kind of flips the script on that whole obsessed with youth thing we see everywhere. It's saying maturity, stability, confidence, stuff that usually comes with age. That's what's really attractive.
Interesting, huh? Like, we're told to fight aging, look younger. But this is saying, hey, maybe people want those qualities you get from, well, living a bit longer.
Exactly. And there's this part really stuck with me. It talks about how some younger women, they're maybe looking for an anchor, someone who's steady, calm, not adding to the chaos. Anyone been in a crazy relationship gets that.
Well, for sure.
Right. So that stability, that can be super attractive.
Yeah.
But it's not just about like being a grown-up, paying your bills. This article goes deeper. It talks about emotional maturity, saying older men, they often have an edge there.
You mean like emotional intelligence?
Yeah, that's it.
It seems like they're pulling from maybe that Goleman model of emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
self-awareness, regulating yourself, motivation, empathy, social skills, all that. And those are things you hone over time, especially in relationships.
Makes sense. You learn from your past relationships,
Right.
right? Figure out your own emotional patterns, how to handle tough situations. Not just fly off the handle, but be more, graceful.
Exactly. Responding, not reacting. And the article says that's huge EE for attraction, that ability to handle the emotional stuff.
Makes you think about all those times you maybe overreacted, right?
Yeah.
Wished you'd been a little more, wise.
Maybe. But can't forget confidence either. The article's big on that. Not like cocky,
Yeah.
More like quiet confidence, knowing yourself, what you're worth.
It's like that saying, confidence is silent, insecurities are loud.
Yes, that's it. The article uses the example of walking into a room, not being the loudest, flashiest, but having that self-assuredness. It comes from inside.
Owning your presence, yeah. And it makes me think about all that research on first impressions. People decide stuff about us so fast. That quiet confidence, it matters.
Totally. And talking about how people see us, the article mentions presentation too, but not in the look younger way. It's more like refined, taking care of yourself, dressing well, showing you value.
I was so intrigued by what they said about scent, though. How women, generally their sense of smell is stronger, and scent, it triggers memories, emotions. Makes you wonder how much is going on under the surface influencing us, and we don't even realize.
Yeah, a lot to think about. It's like attraction's not just what you see, it's the whole experience.
Multisensory, right. So we have maturity, emotional intelligence, confidence, even scent. What else is this article highlighting?
Well, it's big on honesty, putting out positive vibes,
Mhm.
which honestly, those are good regardless of how old you are.
For sure. Honesty builds trust. And who doesn't want to be around someone positive, happy?
Yeah.
But it doesn't shy away from tougher stuff either. It talks about leadership, but with a twist.
Yeah, not the bossy kind, right?
Not at all. It frames it as guidance, responsibility, even little things, like picking a restaurant, being decisive, but also considering your partner.
And they bring up social proof, this idea that we find people more attractive if they're already admired by others, like the popular effect.
Right. It's like if other people think you're great, you must be, right?
It's a shortcut our brains use sometimes. And this connects to what they say about financial stability, too.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. It's not about showing off how rich you are, is it?
Nope, not at all. They frame it as making good decisions, managing your money well, showing you're capable, reliable. That can be a big relief for someone.
It's not the amount, it's the choices you make, showing you're mature, responsible.
Exactly. And speaking of maturity, they highlight independence, too.
Independence. Tell me more.
Having a life you're proud of, your own passions, a sense of purpose outside the relationship.
So not needing someone to complete you, but welcoming them into a life you already have.
Right. It shows you're not clinging to someone for happiness. You're already whole.
Makes sense. You're not looking to be rescued. You're looking for an equal partner.
What else? Well, they talk about communication being crucial.
Communication, the foundation of any good relationship, right? What's their take on it?
They say older men, from having more practice, they're often better at expressing themselves. clearly, patiently, which can be a relief for someone tired of misunderstandings, you know?
Yeah, being able to say what you need, what you feel, but also really listening.
And they suggest, instead of competing with younger guys, older men can actually be more attractive by being like mentors.
Interesting. So not one-upping each other, but offering guidance, support.
Exactly. Recognizing different life stages, have different strengths, challenges.
But some might say younger partners bring energy, a fresh perspective, keeps things exciting, right?
True. And that shows how important balance is no matter the age difference.
Appreciating what each person brings to the table.
Speaking of which, the article emphasizes how attractive it is to have a sense of purpose.
Tell me about that. What does that actually look like?
Having clear goals, ambitions, wanting to do something meaningful, you know. And that often gets clearer as we get older.
So not just what you've done, but what you're aiming for.
Yeah. Having direction, passion, that can be super inspiring, attractive.
I'm intrigued by this mentorship idea, but could it be a problem too? Like an uneven power dynamic in the relationship?
That's a great question, something to be aware of. The key is it's got to be reciprocal. Both people feel valued, respected.
Learning from each other, no matter who's older or younger.
Absolutely. Speaking of learning and growing, they highlight patience too, which, you know, often comes with experience, contrasted with that impatience you see sometimes.
Patience is so underrated in relationships. Letting things unfold naturally, not forcing it.
And finally, they wrap up by emphasizing how important it is to understand and really embrace your own value.
Self-worth, that's huge, GE.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in you, why should anyone else?
Exactly. Not being arrogant, but knowing your strengths, accepting your flaws, knowing you deserve love, respect.
It's to that inner confidence we talked about before.
Precisely. The article suggests it's self-doubt, not age, that holds people back in attraction. It's about recognizing real attraction starts within.
Powerful stuff. Wow, we covered a lot. Maturity, emotional intelligence, confidence, presentation, honesty, positivity, leadership, social proof, finances, independence, communication, mentorship, purpose, patience, self-worth. Phew! So much goes into attraction.
It shows how complex it is, doesn't it?
Absolutely. But before we go too far, we'll pause here. When we come back, we'll dig even deeper into some of these points and explore what they mean for you. Don't go anywhere.
Back again. You know, that whole thing about maturity, specifically emotional maturity, is worth another look. That was a big takeaway for me.
Yeah, me too. It really stuck with me. But it's kind of hard to, pin down.
Yeah.
More mature, okay, but how W?
Well, the article gives us some hints. Remember that example about tough situations, reacting with grace, not freaking out or getting defensive?
Right.
It's that self-control, choosing a thoughtful response, even when things are heated.
Oh, I've been there so many times. I wish I'd, taken a breath first.
Me too. We all have, right? And think about it from the other side. Someone may be attracted to an older partner. They might have dealt with people who were, I don't know, emotionally all over the place, unpredictable, and suddenly someone steady, grounded, that's gold deep.
It's that anchor idea again, right?
Yeah.
Calm, secure, no drama.
Exactly. And that feeling of security, that's super attractive. But
Yeah.
it's not just about keeping things chill. Emotional maturity is huge for communication too, especially when you disagree.
You mean like having the tough talks without it becoming a huge fight?
Yes. Saying what you need, how you feel, respectfully, but also listening to the other person without getting all defensive or shutting down.
That takes work though, doesn't it? Learning to do that well.
Oh, absolutely. Lifelong process, really. And that's where the emotional intelligence comes in. The more self-aware we are, the better we handle our own triggers,
Know thyself, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the more we get ourselves, the better we handle all the complicated emotional stuff that relationships throw at us.
Speaking of complicated, that whole older men as mentors thing, that was interesting. But could it be, I don't know, unbalanced too?
Yeah, good point. Got to be careful with that. I think it comes down to mentorship has to go both ways. Mutual respect. Not one person's the expert and the other's the student.
Two-way street.
Exactly. Good relationship means both people are growing, learning. And yeah, age, experience, that brings stuff to the table, but doesn't mean one person's right.
Right. Valuing what each person brings. But while we're talking potential problems, that financial stability thing, I'm all for being responsible, but does that really equal attractive?
I get it. Gotta be careful with that message. Remember, money's just one part of the whole picture. It's not the only thing that makes someone worthwhile or attractive.
Right, and I think the article was getting at something deeper.
Yeah.
Not just the dollar amount, but that it shows good decision-making, security, which are appealing.
Exactly. Not about showing off, but showing you can handle your life, your money. That can be a big relief to someone.
Shows you've got your act together.
Yes. And this connects to the independence thing too, right? Not just finances, but having your own life outside the relationship.
Oh, absolutely. Your own passions, things you're into, a purpose that's not just about your partner.
And this is where the adventure, the curiosity comes in, I think. Keep growing, keep exploring, even as we get older.
Love that. Staying engaged, finding joy in new stuff. Like they said, novelty is just as attractive as stability sometimes.
It's that balance. Grounded A&D, open to new things.
Makes me think of that study, couples trying new activities together. The ones who did that regularly, they were happier.
Interesting. Makes sense though, right? Shared adventures keeps the spark going.
Totally. And talk about keeping things fresh. Remember what they said about presentation. Not trying to be younger, but taking care of yourself.
Putting your best foot forward, not erasing who you are.
Yeah, important difference. Not denying your age, but embracing it, being authentic.
Authenticity, so key. And that connects to the confidence too, you know? Feeling good about yourself, it shows.
Confidence is the best outfit.
Haha, yes.
Yeah.
But it's more than clothes. It's how you carry yourself, communicate, all of it.
And that takes us back to the scent thing. Wild how powerful that could be. Smell triggering emotions, memories, like, whoa.
Shows how much our senses matter, right? Attraction's not just visual. It's smells, sounds, touch, even taste, all playing a part.
So much happening under the surface influencing us.
Makes you think about the perfumes you wear, music you listen to, the whole vibe you create.
It's like composing an experience, using all our senses.
Love that. And talking about experiences, they brought up leadership too. But not the typical way.
Yeah, not bossy. It was more about like taking charge, but being considerate.
Even small stuff, picking the restaurant, making the decision, but also thinking of the other person.
Leading, 80s supporting. Gotta find that balance.
And this reminds me, they talked about communication being so important.
Oh yeah, always is, but especially when there's an age difference.
Being able to say what you need, but also really hearing the other person, no judgment.
Creating that safe space to talk openly.
And it's ongoing, right? Not a one-time thing.
Constant back and forth, expressing, listening, understanding, adjusting.
Well said. And speaking of adjusting, that mentorship thing can be tricky to navigate.
You talked about that. Yeah, how do you make sure it's balanced, not one person having all the power?
Starts with remembering it's got to go both ways. Not expert and student, but sharing what you know, and D, being open to learning from the other person. Don't assume you know what they need. The best mentors, they listen more than they talk. Offer guidance when asked, not just jumping in.
Helping your partner find their own answers, make their own choices.
Exactly. And speaking of choices, they were big on having your own sense of purpose too, a direction in life outside the relationship.
You mean like goals you're working towards, things you're passionate about?
Yes, it can be your job, creative stuff, helping others, anything, as long as it lights you up.
That drive, that motivation, it's contagious.
And it ties back into independence, you know? You're not looking to your partner for all your happiness.
You're complete on your own, bringing your whole self to the relationship.
And speaking of your whole self, that self-worth piece, that was powerful.
So true. Can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. If you don't believe in you, it's tough for others to as well.
It's not being cocky, but knowing what you're good at, accepting the not so good, and knowing you deserve to be loved, respected.
Love that. And that's something we can all work on, no matter our age or relationship status.
A lifelong journey, figuring ourselves out, accepting who we are.
Wow, we've covered a lot today. Emotional maturity, confidence, money, purpose, communication, self-worth, so many things tied to attraction. But before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. What's resonated most with you so far?
We're back for the last part of this deep dive. It's been a lot, unpacking this whole attraction thing. But before we totally wrap up, I'm curious, what really stood out to you during our conversation?
Yeah, what were your big takeaways?
For me, it's that focus on like the inner stuff, not just looks. Yeah, the article was about age, but it kept coming back to emotional intelligence, self-awareness, purpose. That's what makes someone attractive, ultimately.
So true. And I think that resonates no matter WHO you are, who you're into. We like people who get us, make us feel seen, and, inspire us to be better.
Exactly. It's deeper than just like surface stuff. But before we go, got to address the elephant in the room. This article was very hetero-focused.
Right.
But I think a lot of what we talked about, it applies more broadly, right?
Oh, absolutely. Step back. Look at the core ideas. Maturity, confidence, emotional intelligence, purpose, good communication. Those make any relationship better.
Totally. Romantic, friends, family, even work stuff, these qualities matter.
And they're not just for one age group or gender either. We've all met people, no matter how old they are, who just, they get it, or they're so passionate about something, it's contagious.
It's about the energy, the realness, that connection that goes beyond labels.
Well said.
So this article gave us one way to look at attraction, but the big ideas, they're universal, I think. Be your best self. Work on those inequalities. Connect with people on a deeper level.
Great way to sum it up.
As we finish this deep dive, we want to leave you with this. What really stuck with you from all this? What do you value in relationships? And how can you bring more of those good qualities to your own life?
Keep those questions in mind. Keep learning. Keep talking about this stuff.
Until next time.